The Galactic Tribunal's chamber stretched across several kilometers, its crystalline walls pulsing with the collective thoughts of 1,000 species. At its center, a single human stood before the Council of Seven, beings so ancient that their home stars had long since burned out, leaving only their consciousnesses to drift between the cosmos. Dr. Elena Vasquez adjusted her worn jacket, a simple gesture that seemed almost defiant in the face of such overwhelming alien grandeur. She had been chosen not for her diplomatic skills, but for something far more dangerous, her humanity. Homo sapiens. The Arbiter's voice resonated through dimensions Elena couldn't perceive. You stand accused of the most heinous crime in galactic history. Infinite expansion. The word infinite hung in the air like a death sentence. Around the chamber, holographic evidence materialized. Star maps showing humanity's relentless spread across the galaxy over the past 3 centuries. Red dots marking human colonies, trade routes, and exploration vessels formed an ever-expanding web that had consumed 1/3 of known space. Every species, continued the Arbiter, its form a shifting mass of geometric patterns, has accepted the finite doctrine. Growth must end. Resources must be preserved. Expansion must cease. You alone refuse to acknowledge limits. Elena had heard this argument 1,000 times in the months leading to this trial. The galaxy's elder civilizations had all reached the same conclusion. Infinite growth in a finite universe was impossible, illogical, and ultimately destructive. They had each voluntarily ceased expansion, content to manage their allocated sectors of space for eternity, all except humanity. Honored Council, Elena began, her voice carrying clearly through the translation matrices. I don't dispute the evidence. Humanity continues to expand, explore, and grow. What I dispute is the premise that this makes us criminals. A ripple of what might have been laughter emanated from the Zethkri representative, a being that resembled a collection of floating coral formations. The mathematics are absolute human. Infinite expansion equals infinite consumption. The galaxy cannot sustain such behavior. But you're assuming, Elena said, stepping forward, that expansion means only taking. You're assuming that growth means only consumption. You've made the fundamental error of viewing the universe as a zero-sum game. She gestured, and with her neural implant, accessed the chamber's holographic systems. Images began to form around her, not of conquest, but of creation. This is the Kepler 442 system, she said as a star system materialized. When we arrived, it was a dead system with a dying star. Today it hosts 12 billion humans and 47 billion aliens across 6 worlds. We didn't take the system. We brought it back to life. The hologram shifted, showing vast orbital installations that seemed to feed energy directly into the star itself. This is the Proxima Centauri Restoration Project. Your records show this star died out 4 million years ago. We reignited it, not by strip mining other systems, but by converting dark matter into usable energy. We created light where there was only darkness. More images followed, dead worlds transformed into garden paradises, asteroid belts converted into vast habitable stations, entire nebulae restructured into stellar nurseries that birthed new stars at an unprecedented rate. You speak of finite resources, Elena continued, her voice growing stronger. But you think too small. You see the universe as it is, but we see it as it could be. Every human child who looks up at the night sky doesn't see empty space. They see infinite possibility. The council remained silent, their alien forms processing this new information. Finally, the Arbiter spoke. These achievements are impressive, but they do not address the core issue. Your species shows no sign of slowing, no indication that you will ever accept limits. What happens when you have consumed all of space? What then? Elena smiled, a purely human expression that had puzzled aliens for centuries. Then we'll make more space, she said simply. We're already working on dimensional folding, pocket universe creation, quantum space expansion. Humanity doesn't accept impossible as an answer. We never have. But why? The question came from the Veltar representative, a crystalline being whose thoughts moved, like slow light through their translucent body. Why this endless hunger for more? What drives you to such extremes? Elena paused, considering how to explain something so fundamental to human nature that most humans themselves couldn't articulate. Because, she said finally, we are the children of a species that looked up at the stars when they were nothing but pinpricks of light and decided to visit them. We are the descendants of beings who saw an ocean and built ships, who saw a mountain and decided to climb it, who saw death itself and declared war on it. She spread her arms wide, encompassing the vast chamber. You ask what drives us? Love drives us. Love for our children who deserve to see wonders we cannot imagine. Love for the universe itself, which deserves to be more than it is. Love for the very concept of tomorrow, which should always be brighter than today. The chamber fell silent. For long moments, the only sound was the subtle harmonics of the translation matrices, working to convey concepts that had no equivalent in most alien languages. Finally, the Arbiter spoke. The tribunal will deliberate. The beings of the council withdrew their consciousness from the physical realm, leaving Elena alone in the vast chamber. Hours passed, or perhaps days. Time moved strangely in this place between stars. When they returned, their decision was immediate. Humanity, the Arbiter announced, you are guilty as charged. You are infinite in a finite universe. You refuse to accept limits that we deem necessary for galactic survival. Elena's heart sank, but before she could speak, the Arbiter continued. However, we have also concluded that this is not a crime. It is evolution. For too long, we have accepted the boundaries of what is rather than pursuing what could be. Your species reminds us of something we had forgotten, that growth and creation are not the same as consumption and destruction. The chamber began to shift around them, its walls becoming transparent to reveal the vast cosmos beyond. The verdict is final, the Arbiter said. Humanity is indeed infinite. And perhaps the universe needs something infinite to help it grow beyond what it has always been. Helena smiled again, this time with tears in her eyes. Then let's get to work, she said. The universe isn't going to expand itself, and in the cosmic distance, new stars began to shine.